First of all, starting at 63, getting back into the job market was hard. I mean, I was looking forward to it, but I just didn't know where to start. I heard a lot of whispers that I was too old. You know, I'm 63 years old and I've been out of the job market for over 10 years. But it was something that I needed to do. I needed to get back into work. So I started looking, but I kept hearing those whispers in my mind. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go back to an office job? And everyone there was, 30 years younger than me, and I'm 30 years older than them, so a lot has changed. So what I did is I just started looking, and the whispers just wouldn't go away. And a lot of times I didn't apply for jobs that I knew that I was qualified for. But I kept going, and I just kept going and looking, and I really thought to myself, working in an office is really not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go back to that because one, I wasn't getting any calls, and two, I wanted something different. So I applied for several jobs, and I finally got a call, and it was an experience. I went in, and the person that interviewed me was shocked. They were shocked by my age. They didn't expect somebody my age walking in for the interview, and that I could just see it on her face. It was so obvious. She just said something under her breath of like, wow, and we talked, and she got to know me, and things got better, but it was a very uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable situation. So obviously that didn't work out. So I went back to my resume, and I put obvious, when I graduated from college. I have an associate's degree, and I graduated in the 80s, so I made sure I put that in there. I put that, I've been working since, and I haven't been out of a job caring for my parent because she had Alzheimer's. So I cared for her for over 10 years. So those are little indicators that I'm not 30 years old. I'm not in my early 40s. So, and when I graduated from school, that was, in my 80s. So that's another obvious one. So I kept on going, but I didn't apply for office jobs again. And then I applied for this job that it was in sales, and I said, I'm going to apply for that, see how it goes. I went in, and everybody is probably familiar with this or seen this job, and it's at this big box membership store that's all over the country and in several other countries around the world. And I went in, and the interview went great. The person interviewed me was in his late 20s, a very nice person, and here I am, 63. And he said, what can you tell me, if I gave you something, what would you, how would you sell that product? And I just said, I don't know what came over me, but from listening to commercials, I said, I just made this gesture of a box, and this box has all the essential vitamins that you need, and it's on sale, so take one home with your for your family, for you and your family. And he just kind of smiled, and he said, oh, that was great, that was really great. I like that. And he asked what hours I'm available to work. And I said, well, I know this big box store is open very late. It's also open early. I said, I can't work those hours, but I can work these days. And he said to me, the earliest you'll come into work is 10 a.m. and the latest you'll leave is 6:45. I said, I can do that. And we talked a little more. I went in for a drug test, and I started working. I've been there 9 months now. It's a really fun job. I get to interact with the customers. I talked with everyone, and I hand out the samples, and everyone is very kind. They're getting a free sample, whether it's food or a product or candy or something to drink. It's a good situation. It's a good situation. It's a positive situation to be in. Lots of people, and of all ages, and it was fun. But it took me about 4 months to come across this job, even though I applied for several. But I was so determined, even after hearing those negative thoughts in my mind about my age. My husband works full time, so I was here home by myself. And a lot of times I would wait for him to get home. Well, what do you want to do now? Or the weekends, where do you want to go now? And that's just wasn't fair, because he needed to rest. And then a lot of times he would get called in to work on his days off. So I was starting to feel isolated. So I know I needed to get out to work, and I know the extra money has just been fantastic. It's been a blessing. And the people that I work with are plus and minus 20 years older, younger, and they're a great group of people that I really enjoy working with. So it's all been positive, and I just kept going forward. I wasn't going to let those negative thoughts affect me, but I think that us that are older are very valuable. We're very dependable, reliable. We have a great work ethic, and I hear that all the time. And my job is great, and it's very flexible. I can work 3 or 4 days, or I can work 2 days. Sometimes if I want, I can work 5 days. A lot of times they'll ask if I want to work extra, come in for just a few hours, and I'm okay with that. And I set it up to where it's very similar to my husband's schedule. And now on his days off are my days off. So it's worked very well. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope that you will follow me, subscribe, chime in below, and let me know where you think I'm working at, and how is your job search going. Again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.